Hey everybody, this is Joe. I'm here in my Houston, Texas garden. I'm in zone 9A and this is the second week of June and it is already blazing hot here in Houston. It is going to be 100 degrees or over 4 days this week. It will get hit 100 to 102. And so the things that are sort of my fluffy English garden look plants are flagging or are already dead and I've pulled them out. I've been out of the garden for quite a few days now, so it's looking pretty messy. So you're getting the messy tour and I'm going to show you the really messy tour in a minute. Here's my nutty zucchini that I have yet to see any actual zucchini. I see lots of, oh wait, no, I got excited. That's just part of the flower. It's been flowering plenty, but I haven't seen any actual zucchini. And then my basil in a pot is looking pretty sad. But some of the things that are so beautiful, this big Cape plumbago is coming out, and it is one of my favorite things, and it is beautiful the whole, until frost. It is gorgeous. And then this is I talked about these in my last video. This is part of the Queen Lime zinnia series. And my friend Rachel said she had not had much luck. She was sort of underwhelmed. If you look up Queen Lime zinnia, there are several different, like rose lime and orange lime. And they don't look like this. They're just, stunning online, but I'm pretty disappointed. They're still pretty flowers, but they don't look like I expected them to. And of course, whatever this giant orange thing is that I didn't intend to have orange is doing really well. So we got a lot of good zinnias. There's Miss Doubtfire already peeking around. One of the things I wanted to show you was this Excellence Fund Schubert rose. You can see it still has massive clusters of roses, even, in this kind of heat and this deep into, past the spring into hot summer, and it is still churning out big chunks of, big pieces of roses. The zinnias are looking so pretty. And I cut back here, that Salvia almonte, and it is all grown back beautiful, and you can see it's just starting to bloom right there again. And so I'm really thrilled with that it's come back, because it got ratty very quickly. I looked back, it was interesting, I looked back at my video from last year of the same week, and it is interesting how different things are. I have another friend in the neighborhood who said things were so slow for her, and that's true for me. Last year, these coneflowers, the pretty parasol coneflowers, were huge and prolific, and I feel like they're just now kind of getting off the ground a little bit. And then this crazy thing has been beautiful. This is a self-seeder. But then this wonderful Agastache Tutti Frutti, which last year was already 6 feet tall. I literally planted this. This is the tallest one. I planted that 8 minutes ago. I found some at the store. I had a little problem. I saw a whole family of raccoons go rushing through. I startled them and they raced through the garden and snapped off a whole bunch of it. So that's why I went ahead and bought some more. But last year at this exact same week, it was 6 feet tall at least. And so my carrot is already sort of almost going over. I'm having to support it, and yet this hasn't gotten tall yet. And then I'm still waiting. Here's some that's gotten kind of tall back there, but I'm having to hold it up. It's sort of falling over. I think it's a raccoon situation. And then this psychedelic sky buddleia, I'm gonna crawl back here, is just, I'm waiting with bated breath. It's just about to go. Oh, it's got a little tiny bit right there, but we've got lots of buds on it. And then this sweet stuff. That's that Agastache. And then of course my favorite little Verbena bonariensis that popped up. And then the Caldwell Pink roses have all come out for their second round. You can see they're just beautiful in here. And I've left a few cleomes, but I've pulled out a lot of cleomes. You can see there were a whole bunch back there, probably in my last video, and they are pooping out and it's just so scraggly. I am really loving actually these sweet little sunflowers. They've ended up being paler than I first thought. They're not very sturdy. They're sort of hanging over, but I think they're really sweet looking. And then I started on this beautiful yellow daylily. This pale yellow daylily was supposed to be in a different spot in the garden. I don't know how it got mixed in with these dark burgundy ones. So I may put a little ribbon around that so that in the fall I'll know which one, if I want to pull that out and put it with its friends that all match, I'll know which one it is that I need to pull out. Hello, Mrs. D. Hello, Pumpkin. I'm loving this Walker's Low Nepeta or catmint. It's just beautiful. It seems really happy here. I'll be interested to see how it does the rest of the year. But I'm loving that. Oh, and before I go too far, I'm going to show you now. I've been gone. It's a mess. But I completely redid, these pots were so overgrown and wilting every day. So I decided to put native plants in these pots. I have all new soil, potting soil in there. And then this is Gora, and I actually ended up with two colors. I ended up with white. Let's see if I can get you a picture of a pretty flower. And also pink. And then a native salvia called Salvia farinacea. And it's just sort of like, I think it's called mealy blue sage. And I just put those two together, and I did the same thing over there. But when I dumped this out, I was by myself. My husband was out of town, and all I could do was dump it out. It is such a giant root ball that it just stayed in one piece. And I'm waiting for him to be home, for the two of us to be home at the same time, so we can put this on the garden cart and drag it back to the compost pile, and I'll take some of these plants out. But so this is the real, that's true to life right there. So messy. Now I've got this holy basil, which a couple of people have talked to me about in the comment section, and it's not nearly as showy as I thought it was going to be. The flowers are just so tiny. Can't see how tiny that little pink flower is. And also when the sun hits it and heats it up, it smells horrible. And so say goodbye to it, because the next video you see, that will be gone. I'm just so gross. I cannot stand the smell of it. So that's okay. I'm glad it wasn't so showy and beautiful. I don't feel bad pulling it up. I've got another round of dahlias that are going to be ready to come out. And I'm feeling like maybe I need to move this into the shade before too long. I'm not sure that a dahlia in a pot can take 102-degree heat. I'm literally talking to you about it. It smells so bad, I'm gonna move before I talk about it. It's so gross. I love these little zinnias have come out. I think they're super pretty, and I like that they're sort of semi-double, so that the bees and the butterflies can still get to the nectar, but I still get more than one single row of petals. So it's like the best of both worlds there. Let's see, what else is looking so good? Oh, these, incredible. I think those are white swan coneflowers, and I'm just in love with them. They've been beautiful for so many weeks. And I think I've only trimmed a couple of sort of faded flowers off of them, and then this pink. And then here's one of the things I'm excited about. This, I think, is a salvia, coral nymph salvia that I grew from seed, because none of them are happy. The ones I did from seed, so unhappy. So I'm hoping that that's what that is. Another big old zucchini. I have yet to see an actual zucchini, but it is blooming. And then I think this is one of the prettiest things out here. I've got this pot with the gomphrena. It seems to me that these grasses are finally starting to take off and fill in a little bit. But all of these incredible zinnias have come in and filled that space. Now they're crowding out one of the grasses, but I think the grass is going to be okay. I'll leave it. I just love them in this beautiful rose. And then I'm about ready to cut back my black and blue salvia. It's about ready for round 2. And so I'll cut that back here. I'll cut these back. But this is where I put the salvia Mystic Spires tucked in. And so it's kind of a little mixture in there. I cut down all of this, was that beautiful Peter's Purple Monarda, and it finished blooming and it gets ratty, and sometimes I wonder if it's got, like, I don't know, maybe spider mite or something. It just looks pitiful. So I cut it back, and it'll green up and grow a little bit, but it won't bloom again until next year. And so here is where I tucked in some more of that Tutti Frutti Agastache. And I talked to the native nursery here in Houston, and they said they're really selling it with the annuals, that it just can't take the humidity like some other Agastache varieties do. And so as with many things in this garden, you know, I want an English country garden that's also a butterfly garden. But also I live in Texas, and you know, it's only the second week of June, and it's going to be, as I've mentioned, 102 degrees. So I have to be willing to buy things that make me happy, preferably in 4-inch pots, that will give me that look as long as I can get it. And then I'm going to kind of be left with native Texas plants, grasses, roses, and zinnias really for the rest of the summer. Got some really pretty little roses coming out. It's interesting when it's cool outside. This is Clotilde Super. And when it's cool outside, early spring, this is much more pink than white. And they're actually bigger flowers. So it's just kind of like, it lets you know it's hot, but we're still gonna bloom. And so I think that's an interesting little, I have a couple of roses that the colder it is, the darker the flower is, I think. And then I've got it's a nice big dill plant here, or sorry, not dill, fennel plant. And I found several more caterpillars on there for the eastern black swallowtail. And then I've got more, so you can see I've put more of that, the Tutti Frutti Agastache in here. They kept selling it in 4-inch pots. And so, you know, what was I supposed to do? Not buy it. So there's some there, and oh, shocking, more there. This is something I bought last year. I knew, you know, it looked beautiful all fall. It looked beautiful in the winter. It overwintered fine. This is Scabiosa, and it, you know, I've already got one that's kind of died, and it starts to look like, I don't know, is that spider mite? It's just pitiful. But it didn't make it through last year, so I may, instead of trying to limp this along this year, I might just pull it out. It looked beautiful 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was beautiful, and now it's like, nope, got hot, that's the end. But again, I'm treating it like it's an annual. I'm sure if I was in, you know, I don't know, Colorado or Ohio or somewhere, that would still be beautiful. But, you know, we have to work with what the hand we're dealt. This beautiful Agapanthus. So pretty. I love it. I wish I had 10 stalks of it, but it's looking like I'm just going to have one. So I'm just going to be happy with what I've got. Oh, okay. I'm going to show you one of my favorite things that I found at the nursery. Let's see if I can climb back in here. This is a verbena. Did I keep the tag? Did I put the tag in here? This is a native Texas verbena. It is native to my county. And it looks a little bit like a verbena bonariensis, but not, right? It's supposed to get really tall, and it has these precious little flowers. And the leaves are very much the same. And I'm hoping that it'll get really tall and wispy and be a native version of what I really want. And then I've got lots more pretty zinnias back here, and oh, the grass is so beautiful. Oh, guess what? Oh, I got fire ants. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Hold please. I gotta get out of the fire ants. Whew, okay. I'm all right. Sorry about that, y'all. Goodness gracious. I don't know what in the world. That must be a zinnia. Yep, that's some random orange zinnia. I pulled out all of my tomatoes that I'd actually bought. Not the wonderful volunteers I have all over the place, but I pulled out the ones I had bought, and this is that pot I dragged off the side of the street in my neighborhood and realized later it had an enormous hole in the bottom. And so I've decided that I'm really liking this tall gomphrena. I like it everywhere I've moved that other pot, and it's looked so pretty that I wanted more of it. So I just left the bottom out. I didn't put the little bucket in there I had before. And if this grows deeply through the bottom of that giant hole and into the ground, that's fine with me. I want to leave it here. It's giving me a little extra height, and if I can get a big floaty look back here with that, that's my idea anyway. I'm not sure if that's gonna work out. Oh, there's a monarch. Hey monarch, go to Canada. You're not supposed to be here. And then there's a couple of little cleums that are back here that are sort of younger. They really are just now getting this height, and so they look fresh and pretty. And the pentas. Oh, and I think this is one of my favorite zinnias. It's sort of, I think it's called a cactus zinnia, and I really like that. All right, the squirrelo vision has made me still keep this under. I'll give it another week before I let the squirrels at it. And all of my I moved this back here in the shade. This is a chili pekin. It's native Texas. It has white flowers and then little red peppers. They're very spicy, but you can cook with them. But also it's also called bird pepper because the birds like to eat those peppers. And so I really am growing it for the birds. I didn't realize it could take a lot of shade, so I moved it back over here, and it seems to be happy enough. Here's my olive tree that I'm trying to learn how to make into a topiary. And then here it's volunteer tomatoes out the back. All these tomatoes. They're just everywhere. And then on my pipe vine, I noticed that there were little pipe vine swallowtail butterfly eggs on here, kind of right there. But I think, I can see that the caterpillars have nibbled on this, but I kind of think a lizard has gotten to them. I saw a lizard out here right when I was looking at it earlier, and he may as well have been looking me dead in the eye and licking his lips like, thanks for the caterpillar eggs. So I don't have any caterpillars. Look at all these tomatoes. It's just kooky. They're everywhere. As always, the ivy geraniums are continuing to be gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. And the begonias continue to be absolutely beautiful. And of course, all the stuff in the shade is doing great. When it's this hot, my garden needs the shade. It kind of all wants to be in the shade. Now I'm going to show you over the fence some really funny excitement. Oh wait, before I do that, this is scabiosa. It's a different variety. It's really tall. This I grew from seed, and it's only just now getting flowers on it, getting buds on it, and looks fine. So this is the scabiosa that I think last year I had some that got like 4 feet tall. So I'm kind of watching those to see what happens. and I cut down all my milkweed. I'm trying to get those darned monarch butterflies to go to Canada and not stop off here. And so I cut down my pretty little native milkweed because they just weren't dying to the ground like they would. We're trying to discourage monarchs from remaining here. Okay, look at this. This is a castor bean. Look how crazy that is. Isn't that fun? That is so much fun. I love that. I'm just growing it because it was crazy looking. And these are in waiting. These beautiful pentas are in waiting. They're gonna go on my front porch. I'm waiting for them to get a few more flowers on them before I put them on the front porch. Here's that arrowwood viburnum. It's so pretty. Look how pretty that is. And it's turning into a really pretty little shrub. This is what I wanted to show you. First of all, look at this. Look at these. This is all volunteer tomatoes. Look at that. Isn't that nuts? And there's a whole thing of them there and here and there and there. And I haven't picked any yet. None of them have gotten to be ripe yet. But it's lost its mind. And then here's the cantaloupe, which has gone up the fence and on this fence, and oh my goodness. And then look at the zucchini. It's hanging over my neighbor's driveway. Every 4 days I go and cut out giant things so he won't have to, roll over them with his car. But I mean, I didn't realize that cantaloupe was going to grow up a 4-foot fence. Oh, sorry for the air conditioning noise. And now for a little segment called Do As I Say, Not As I Do. I bought some more of those little zinnias that I love, and I put them in the front yard where I was going to plant them. And then I thought, I'm only going out of town for 48 hours. I'll come back and plant them. And it even rained a half an inch while I was gone. No. So if you're not going to plant it that minute, don't stick it out in the garden where it's going to go. Leave it on your driveway, leave it on your patio, and keep it, baby it along, because I don't think that they're coming back from this, kids. So do as I say, not as I do. Don't put them out until you're ready to actually plant them. Now, here's my last thing I'll show you. Let me turn the light on out here. Oh, no, the light was on. This is like the little nursery of Eastern black swallowtail butterfly chrysalises. There's one here. Every one of these sticks has one. There's one there. There's one there. And there. And where's this one? Down there. And there. Right there. And there's two on this. Or there. They're down there. And so I think I've got about a dozen. None of them have come out. So I'm a little frustrated. But it's super fun to have, every day I come out and just check and see if they're still in there. So that's been super fun. But I have one caterpillar left, and I think that's the last one. Summer's getting a little crazy, so that's probably the last one that I will raise in an enclosure, maybe until the fall. So it's going to be fun to have those chrysalises. I can kind of watch for them. Well, thanks you guys for taking a look at my garden and seeing the messiness. I think it's still super beautiful for a garden it's so hot already. I think it's chugging along pretty well. Well, you guys have a wonderful week, and I hope your garden is looking terrific. Bye-bye.